deep in the dark, you'll surrender your heart. But you know that you can't fight the moonlight, no. You can't fight it.
I'm from Japan. As you know, we have huge, fan club of Robert. So let me ask you about, Edward became the most famous vampire in the world. So you also became most hardest, sexist actor in the world. So are there any similarities, you and Edward?
Are there any what, sorry? What was the...
I think she said you were hot and sexy.
How does it feel to be sexy?
And are there any similarities, you and Edward?
I'm so excited for this one.
Wait, so the question was, what are the similarities between him and Eddie?
Okay, similarities.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. What do you think?
Come on.
What? No, I really can't tell anymore. I mean, it's... After the first, I remember meeting you the first time and like arguing with you tons about.
Yeah, he sat there and argued with me about what Edward thinks and feels. It was actually amazing. It was awesome.
But then after you've done like kind of 3 movies, you kind of get to a point where you're like, there's an instinctive understanding of it, so you don't really know where you end and where the character begins after a while. And so I don't know. I mean, there are certain things where you don't know if he's similar, if it's you thinking, because I mean I've spent so much time in Vancouver and you're just like, Edward wouldn't do that, and if someone asks you why, you don't know why. You're just like, because I wouldn't do it.
Hi, I'm John from E! Online. It's kind of crazy because the last movie hasn't even come out yet, but there's been a lot of speculation and talk about possibly rebooting the Twilight franchise. So I was kind of wondering what, on the whole, your thoughts were on that, and for the actors, what your thoughts were on possibly seeing someone else take on these characters you've made iconic.
Love that expression. On the whole.
I think it'd be amazing. I would love to see that.
That would be interesting.
Mitch, I would rip them. I pity the person who takes over my part. I would destroy. I would make a campaign against them.
But at the same time, I think like what's really great about this though, and the reason turning that last page is what it is because you just have a faith it's done. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, they can have it now. I mean, I feel like maybe this is just a very insider's perspective. I played her, but if anything else happened, I swear to God, like please leave them alone. Do you know what I mean? Like please let them. They figured it out. Leave them. And I think that by the end of the movie, it's so sort of like abundantly satisfying and sweet and ideal and like
Yeah.
it just feels good. It should end, but like Steph. I'm down.
Completely contradict yourself.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, I would be open to the idea. I'd be really curious to see what it was.
It would be really interesting, in 20 years, right? 20 years?
There you go.
That's good. But I do pity the person who tries to step into these roles. Because that's going to be really hard and not going to go well for them, I don't imagine. This is what is loved. And it wouldn't be the same. It'd be interesting, but it'd be so hard. That would be the hardest part.
What would you write if you wrote a sequel? Just like summary.
Wait. What would I write if what?
If there was another.
One.
Yeah, the next
The
one.
next one? Well, Bella's story is definitely told. Like you said, it's final. Back in the day when I was never going to stop writing about vampires, there's a reason why this lovely lady was created.
What am I thinking?
Yeah, obviously.
Right here.
How do you think it wasn't, it's funny because I've heard things like, Bella I just want Bella to have a baby. No, I was creating a narrator. That's what she is.
Totally.
But, again, 20 years down the road.
There you go. What do you think about
Oh my gosh.
kind of Ed and Bella get divorced? And it's like a kind of Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing.
So who comes out of that alive? What do you see?
No, that's the whole thing. They can't
Because
die.
one of you would, someone's going to die, right?
I could totally rip your head off.
Yeah, I think my money's on Bella.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah.
Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing right now?
Okay, right in the middle, down in the middle here. Jeremy Parsons from Reels. Rob, we remember, I think 4 years ago, whatever it was, the very first Comic-Con, you came out of Hall H almost visibly shaken by the experience of the fans. Compare Comic-Con then to Comic-Con now in terms of your experiences through all these years.
Definitely the first one was genuinely frightening because I had never experienced any. I don't think any of us had experienced kind of crowd that large. You know, it's strange, but then you get used to it surprisingly quickly. It's weird, like and you have a persona that develops in front of a bunch of people, and it's different with specifically fans of Twilight as well. There's a certain mood which comes out, yeah, I think this is fun. I mean, because it's like Comic-Con is, you know, when you have 6,000 people, it's kind of like one of the big premieres. Like, you know, like the one in LA is that there's 10,000 people or something. But that's just walking around in a haze of people screaming at you. But this, it's actually, there is some kind of element of a show. Like, I mean, there is a back and forth a little bit. So it's way more fun than just kind of. Like when you turn up to a premiere, it's literally like it's exercise, it's doing a marathon basically. But this is actually, you know, it's something. It's a game.
Brianna from EP Daily. I just want to ask. Everyone already knows kind of how the film goes because they've read the novel. So, what do you think the film adds in terms of drama and emotion to complement the books?
Bill Condon is really great with finding human emotion in the middle of fantastic events. I think he did that brilliantly in the first movie. He really made you feel the human relationships there, and I think that carries through. He does a really excellent job with that.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't sound like I don't know, like we're like really arrogant. But like we do really cool things with the ending. And I think people already know that possibly as well, which kind of is a bummer. But I think Bill was the perfect person to direct the fourth book, even though it's 2 movies. Now that we live in full-on Twilight Land, we're Bella's a vampire. It's the human aspects are really, I mean, they're gone now. It's always been something that's rooted the story, and I was nervous going into this. I was like, now that she's the vampire, now that she's a vampire as well, it might just seem a little bit hard to grasp. Like, is there going to be something that we can hold? And he did it. Like he totally did it. I think we did it. And also the end. I think fans can expect something very, very emotional, like a bit of a wrap up. And it's like, I mean, I've seen it 4 times and I cry every time. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Thomas Wilkinson, Cumulus Media. As with the end of any saga, the action is bound to ratchet up. Were there any discussions on set about maintaining the PG-13 rating? And also, were there any physical demands that y'all found particularly challenging or difficult?
Did you say fiscal or physical?
Physical.
Yeah, Kristen, you wore a hand brace for a lot of the movie. I think that you win the prize on that one.
I have really bad luck with my thumbs.
It's true.
It's plagued me, actually. Drives me crazy. Still hurt. Both of them are very oddly shaped. Yeah.
But she fought through it.
Yeah, totally. Because we did. I hurt myself right at the beginning of all of our action sequences, and so any grimace you see is probably real. I'm like, physically, this thing's been more challenging than anything because even the way she walks into a room is different than how I would walk into a room. I mean, everything is. If you think a mile a minute, you're never going to be indecisive about anything. Everything is very pointed. And that was fun. I think, I got to see everyone else's versions of their vampires over, this really long period. And so I feel like I liked picking and choosing what to use and what not to use. It was sort of, I feel like rounding her out was fun and physically really challenging. I remember going up to Stephanie on the first day that I had to play a vampire because we shot them. They were the integrated schedules, and I was like, Steph, how am I going to sound like wind chimes, you jerk? Like, that's impossible. I really, like, it kind of blew my mind. So stuff like that was the biggest challenge for me. Letting go of that, because I don't sound like wind chimes.
Over here, Terry Morrow with Scripps Howard. After doing all these films, do you have a better insight on what makes this phenomenon?
For me, no.
Any of you?
Not at all.
I really do greatly apologize, but Rob was just speaking to me and I didn't hear your question.
He wants to know if we have better insight on why this is a phenomenon now that we've done the movies, which I don't, because it still surprises me all the time.
Well, I think you're just being extremely humble about it. Because what I say, I never can answer that question, but all the credit does go back to the books and the characters that this one has created. I mean, that's where it all started, and we're extremely honored to be in the situation to bring those to life. But I mean, the characters in the books are what these fans fell in love with. So, and I don't know if it's, you know, how they relate to them, and I have no idea. But I know that is where it began. That's all I know.
Yeah, I think if you could define it, then we'd be doing more of it. That's the thing, is when you hit something, that's, you know, I have been obsessed with this thing, and it's been such a personal experience. And you look over, and there are, you know, there are other people that identify with things that I do, and that shared energy is like the coolest. It's very igniting. It spreads. You know, if you like something and you can share it with your friend, suddenly you guys love it. Do you know what I mean? It's like because you share it. And I think, I mean, I don't know why this thing was the one that people became obsessed with, but I think it just sort of just lit up. This is odd. I don't know why this feels weird. Right?